Welcome to the CWEB Online Expense Guide. My name is Joseph DePasqua, and I'll be guiding you through entering your book expenses online. Today we'll be discussing the materials required from you, the student, the reimbursement process and procedures, receipts and supporting documentation, as well as entering and submitting your book expense. By clicking this link, you can access online CWEB student resources, such as the Online Expense Reimbursement Guide, as well as the CWEB Student Handbook. As you move through the CWEB program, it's imperative that we have all of your documentation. Your student file is incomplete until we have received the following documents: your pre-contract, the FERPA form, this applies to all students except those attending the University of Pittsburgh, your W-9, your direct deposit form and a voided check, copies of your Social Security card and your driver's license, as well as your internship form, which is to be submitted electronically. You must ensure that your student file is complete in order to access the financial benefits of the CWEB program. This includes fellowship payments, also known as your stipend, tuition, and book expense reimbursement. You're responsible for entering your online student information. This includes demographic data, your email address, your home address, and your phone number, your expected graduation date, and any changes to your contact information. This is imperative for us to stay in touch with you. Students are allowed a $100 book allowance towards the child welfare course. The new online expense report system will automatically keep track of your book allowance as well as allow you to enter your expenses as you go along. An original receipt is required for all of the books that you purchase. If you've previously taken your child welfare class or do not have a receipt, check with your vendor about obtaining a duplicate copy. Please note that processing expense reports takes approximately 6 to 8 weeks. Original receipts, not photocopies, are required for all book reimbursements. The receipt should display the vendor name, the date of purchase, not the shipping date, an itemized description of the items purchased, the amount, the method of payment, be it cash, credit card, check, or money order, proof that payment has been made in the case of checks, whether the purchase was for a rental. Please note that any refund cannot be claimed for reimbursement. Tape receipts to a one-sided 8.5 by 11 sheet of plain white paper. Loose receipts will be returned. Also, do not tape over the ink. The tape will make the ink fade, and the receipt will not be eligible for reimbursement. Your courses and demographic data must be entered online into the CWEB Student Information System before funding, stipend, and book allowance can be released. Additionally, we must have your FERPA, signed contract, driver's license, and Social Security card copies, W-9, residency certification, direct deposit form, and voided check on hand before funding, stipend, and book allowance can be released. Once you've reached the CWEB website, enter your CWEB ID and your password, then click Login. Once you've logged in, click Expense Report on the left side of your screen, highlighted with the blue arrow. Carefully read all of the instructions on the screen and click Next at the bottom of the screen. Click Create New Expense Report or Update/Delete an Unsubmitted Expense Report, then click Next. Enter your book expenses on the day they were incurred. Enter the expense date, the vendor name, the description, and the amount. If there is more than one vendor for a particular day, enter all vendor names separated by a slash. For example, Amazon/Walmart. Once you have finished entering your expense, you must click Add to save the entered information. When you have finished entering your book expenses, click Next. Please note that all book expenses purchased on a single day must be submitted as one entry. Book allowance is never available before the semester to which it corresponds. Allowed expense is the amount of your book allowance. Submitted expenses are expenses previously submitted, approved, and processed by CWEB. Pending expenses are expenses that have been submitted but are pending CWEB approval, and remaining balance is the amount of your book allowance left after subtracting both pending and submitted expenses from your allowed expense. At this screen, please carefully review all of your currently entered expense report information. You can use the Select button to edit a corresponding expense line. After clicking Select, you will be taken to the appropriate expense report entry screen where you will be able to make changes. If your expense report is correct or if you've made necessary changes, click Next. Check that your expense report is correct, print out a copy, and click the Submit button. You must click the Print button to print a copy of your CWEB expense reimbursement. This printout must be signed and sent to CWEB with all necessary supporting documentation. After you've printed the page, click Submit to complete the online reimbursement process. This screen confirms that your expense report has been successfully submitted. Please record your expense report number for future reference. Lastly, sign the printed expense report and send to CWEB with all necessary supporting documentation. Once your expense report has been reviewed by CWEB, you will receive an email. Once you have received this email, you will need to log into the PRISM system to approve your expense report. Follow the steps on this slide to log into PRISM to view your expense report. If your expense report is correct, approve it, and this will complete the CWEB book reimbursement process. If any time you have questions, please feel free to contact the CWEB programs. Dr. Kalan is the principal investigator. Dr. Betcher handles county issues. Dr. Bradley King handles all academic and billing issues, and Yvonne Ham and myself handle all issues related to expense reports, or we can direct you to the appropriate contact for your question. Thank you for taking the time to view this webinar, and have a great day.